Welcome to codeguru.io. This is Jags, and I will be your instructor for your web series building production web application using GraphQL and aws-amplify with Vue.js. In this video, we are going to see how to set up our local development environment. As a part of that, we will first go ahead and create a source code repository, and then we will go ahead and install any of our favorite IDEs like VS Code. Again, it's not hardcore that you should go with VS Code. You can go ahead with any of your favorite IDE. Once we are done with that step, we will proceed and go ahead and install and configure our aws-amplify CLI tools. And then once we are done with that, we will proceed with our fourth step, in which we are going to install our Vue.js CLI tools and create a Vue.js skeleton application. And finally, we will go ahead and host our skeleton Vue.js application on AWS. Right then, let's proceed with our first step of creating source code repository. Again, here I have chosen Bitbucket as my source code hosting provider. You are welcome to go ahead and use any other hosting provider like GitHub. So let's go ahead and create our repository. So just click on plus button over here on the left hand side and select repository. Next, provide your repository name. In this case, it is going to be codeguru. Again, your repository name is generally your project name, so just keep in align with your project name. Next, go ahead and choose you want to create a template README file so that it can initialize your repository and create a master branch for us so that we are ready to go ahead and commit the code into that repository. So next, go ahead and click on create repository. Cool. So here we have successfully created our repository over here. So the next step is we will go ahead and clone this repository onto our local machine. So now before cloning this repository onto our local machine, let's go ahead and configure our SSH keys so that it is easy for us to commit our code into a code repository every time we try to push some code. So for configuring our SSH keys over here, so just click on your profile. Again, it is almost similar if you are going with any other provider like GitHub. So you can just go ahead and configure your SSH keys with your GitHub so that it's easy for you to push your code rather than providing username and password every time you want to push some code into your repository. Cool. So just click on view profile, and under your profile you should see something called as settings, and under your settings you should see something called as SSH keys. So now first we need to go ahead and create our SSH key, or first we need to go ahead and generate our SSH key before we add that key to our Bitbucket. So how do you go ahead and create that? That's pretty straightforward. So what I've done is if you don't know the instructions, just go ahead and click on this generate SSH key. So it will open this page. So if you're using Windows, it's different. Again, if you're using Mac, the details are over here. So depending upon your operating system, go ahead and choose appropriately. So here, all I need to say is SSH key gen. So let's go to our command prompt and type SSH key gen. So it says generating your public and private RSA key pair. Yes. So here I'll just say it as like Bitbucket. So it's asking for you to provide a file name for generating the key, or if you want to leave it default, just leave it blank. So again, it asks for if you want to provide any password for it. So again, I can just say it's like, okay, I don't want to provide any password, so just keep it empty. All right, excellent. So it has created your public key and private SSH key on your machine. So where it is located, so if you're a Linux or Mac user, it is available on your home folder under .ssh folder. So it is a hidden folder, so just type cd.ssh. Now if you type ls, you should see over here. So the file which ends with .pub is your public key, and the file which does not end with any value or any extension, it's your private key, which you're not supposed to share, by the way. So now, what are we going to do next? So here, once we have created our SSH key successfully, next click on add key over here. So here I'll just say it as codeguru, anything which you can remember or which you can identify would be a label name over here. It is just only for identification purpose. So the next step is we will go ahead and copy our generated public key. So if again you are using Mac or Linux, you can execute this command. Again, for Windows, you need to open that file, copy the content and paste it over here. So here I'm just going to execute that code, that command, which I've copied it from over there. So it has already copied my key on my clipboard. So now I just go ahead and say paste. So it will paste my public key over here. Click on add. Cool, excellent. So here we have successfully added our SSH key. Now we are ready to clone the repositories into our local machine and push the code into your GitHub or Bitbucket repository. So now just go ahead and click on your repository and you can see a clone button on top right. So select that, copy that entire command. So again choose SSH because SSH is going to be our mode of communication with our Bitbucket repository. So next, go to your command prompt. So go ahead and create a separate folder for your project. So I generally like to create a separate folder. So I'll just say it as like projects and go into that folder. So you can go ahead and give any comfortable name over there. So the next thing is paste Git Clone Bitbucket over there, your repository URL, and just click on enter. So since it's the first time I'm doing it, so it says you want to add that host to your machine. Yes, I want to add it. Cool, excellent. So here if you see, you have successfully cloned your repository locally. So what are we going to do next thing? So if you see over here, since we have asked our Bitbucket to create a template README file, so what it does is, as a part of that, it even creates a master branch. So again, if you say ls, it will be a sample read file. Again, if you just go ahead and explore that file, it just has only a project name, nothing more than that, since it's a template file. So here, in order to do our development, what we will do is, the best practice is to create a branch. So in this case, we will go ahead and create a develop branch. So for doing that, you just need to type the command called git checkout -b and your branch name. So in our case over here, it is develop. Cool. So now if you see over here, we have successfully created a develop branch on which we are going to start our development. Excellent. Now let's go ahead with our second step, which is installing AWS Amplify CLI tool. So how do we do that? So before proceeding installing with Amplify CLI tools, you need to ensure that you have already npm installed on your machine. So again, how do you get this npm? So you can get this npm by installing Node.js on your machine. So just go ahead and type Node.js on your Google, and depending upon your OS, just go ahead and download any of the latest version and install it. So with Node.js, you'll get a npm package manager installed already on your machine. So here, what is the command to install your AWS Amplify CLI tools? It is npm install -g, so that it is -g is nothing but global, so that your command is available anywhere from this machine. So it is going to be AWS amplify /CLI. If you're unsure what to type over there, just go to Google, just say AWS Amplify and go to your official website over here. Click on Get Started. Now you can see the command over here. It is AWS npm install -g @ AWS-amplify /CLI. So we missed @ over here. So just copy paste that command over here. So this will ensure that you have installed your Amplify CLI on your local machine. So this might take a couple of minutes depending upon your internet speed. So just give it some time. Excellent. So we have successfully installed our AWS Amplify CLI tool on our local machine. So how do we ensure that? Or just to test your tool has been successfully installed, just type Amplify and click on Enter. So here you can see it has installed successfully. So the next thing is, what are we going to do is, we will just go ahead and configure your Amplify CLI tools with your AWS credentials. So for doing that, you just need to say Amplify configure. So this will go ahead and open your AWS console. So if you have not already signed in, it will redirect you to the sign in page. So here it will be my dev account for my codeguru. Cool, excellent. So I have successfully logged into my AWS management console. The next important step is just press enter, and you need to choose your region wherever you are. So here by default it's pointing to US East 1. Yes, I'm happy with that location. And next provide your username over there. So here I'll just say it as dev@codeguru.io. So that's going to be my username. So again, it will redirect you to your IAM console on your AWS. So it needs programmatic access. Yes, go ahead and click give yes. And it has chosen an administrative access policy. Yes, go ahead and give that. Click on next and finally click on review and finally click on create user. Cool. Once you have successfully created your user, you will be getting your access ID and secret key. So just copy your access ID over here. So just press enter, back to your command prompt and provide your access ID and then your secret key. Ensure you're not sharing this access ID and your secret key. So I know I'm exposing my access ID and secret key, but I'll be just going ahead and deleting that account and recreating the account once we are done with this tutorial. So ensure that you're not sharing those details. It has administrative privileges to your AWS console. So once a person who has those details can do anything with your AWS account. So what's going to be my profile name? So it is going to be dev@codeguru.io. Cool. So with that said, we have successfully configured our AWS Amplify CLI tools. Now let's go ahead with our third step of installing Vue.js CLI tools. So now over here, how do we install our Vue.js CLI tools? Again, we are going to use npm. We'll just say npm install -g @vue/CLI. So this will go ahead and install Vue.js CLI on your local machine. So just give it a couple of minutes again. So we have successfully installed our Vue.js CLI tools over here. Now let's proceed and install our IDE for our development purpose. So in this entire web series, I'll be using VS Code as our preferred IDE. Again, you're happy to go ahead and choose whatever the IDE which you are happy with. So here in our web series, we are going to use VS Code. So just go to Google and type VS Code and go to your VS Code website. Just click on download button to download the binaries for your operating system, or depending upon your operating system. So again, just give it a couple of minutes or seconds depending upon your internet speed to download those binaries. Excellent. So we have successfully downloaded that VS Code binaries. Just unzip that. So depending upon your operating system, the installation procedure might differ. So here I just go ahead and click on my VS Code. So on my Mac, all you have to do is just download the zip file and just double click that VS Code executable logo. Yeah, IDE should be ready. Cool, excellent. So now let's go ahead and create our Vue.js skeleton application using our Vue.js CLI tool. So how do we do that? Again, we are already in my project folder. So here you can see under project folder, we are already under codeguru. So let's go ahead and create a skeleton application inside that. So how do you do that? You just need to say view, create, and inside that present folder. So are you sure you want to generate your project in the current directory? Yes, since it's my project directory. And the next thing is I'm going to install with default options. Later on in our web series, I'll be covering how to install various other components like router or vuejs, which is like a centralized store for our Vue.js application. So I'll be covering that in our later web series videos. Excellent. So now you have successfully created a skeleton application using your Vue.js CLI tool. So now how do you access that? So in order to test that application, all you need to do is just say npm run serve. So this will go ahead and start a temporary web server on your local machine and start hosting your Vue.js skeleton application over there. So it has already started. So just copy the URL over here. You can copy localhost or your IP address, depending whichever you're comfortable with. Go to your browser and just type localhost port 8080. Cool. So here you can see we have successfully created a sample Vue.js application and tested it. What is the next and final step of our web series is we will go ahead and host this application on AWS. Since we have already configured our AWS Amplify with AWS credentials, so it's very easy. So go to your project folder. So project codeguru. Now once you're on your project folder, just type Amplify init. So this will add your AWS cloud resources to your project. So are you sure you want to use your project name as codeguru? Yes. What is your environment name? So here I'm going to create a dev environment. And which IDE are you using? So I'm using Visual Studio Code, and of course it's a JavaScript application, and it automatically identifies that I'm using Vue.js. And what is your source directory? Let all the other remaining options be default. So here it says, do you want to use your profiles which you have already created? So if you have observed, when we were configuring our Amplify CLI, we have created a profile which is nothing but dev at codeguru.io. So just select that. So just give it a couple of minutes. So what this internally does is Amplify goes ahead and creates all your cloud resources for you at the backend and stores that infrastructure code on your project. So by using Amplify, what we are doing is you need not know anything about AWS, but you can create all the goodness of your cloud infrastructure for you automatically. So this is really, really helpful for UI developers to get started just instantly. So cool, excellent. So if you have seen over here, it has added the Amplify resources, whichever the resources which it has created in the cloud, to our project. So now if you just say git status, you could see it has added one extra folder called as Amplify, inside which we have all our cloud resources defined as code. So now let's go ahead and add hosting service to our project using Amplify. So here we just need to say Amplify add hosting. So what are we doing? Till now we just initialized our cloud to get ready. We have our application which you need to work with. So now we are creating a hosting service on cloud for our Vue.js application. So just click on yes, and here we are using our S3 as our hosting service. So it asks for my bucket name. So I'm happy with the default bucket name. What would be your index file for your website? So it is index.html. Error doc is also, it's going to be index.html. Once you're done with this, in order to publish or in order to start hosting on your cloud, all you have to do is Amplify Publish. So it just asks for your confirmation. Are you sure you want to create this resources in cloud? Yes, I am. The reason why it is asking is because you will be charged once those resources are created. So ensure whatever the option you are choosing over there. So give it a couple of minutes. All right, so after a couple of minutes, it was successfully started hosting my application on this URL. So if you go to your browser, it has already opened that thing for me. So you can see this is a real cloud URL where our application is hosted. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this, and please do not forget to subscribe our video over here by clicking this subscribe icon over here, and you can find more interesting videos related to this web series over here. Thank you.